Good people of Atlanta, we must never forget that Anthony Bourdain killed himself. Anthony Bourdain had the greatest job that show business ever produced. This flew around the world and ate delicious meals with outstanding people. That man with that job hung himself in a luxury suite in France. Dave Chappelle. Good evening, folks. It's been a while. All right, mic sounds good. Guess where it go. This really isn't a review. It kind of is. Listen, if you want to watch it, go watch it. If you don't. I watched it. Made me laugh. That's it. All right, now that's out of the way. The reason why I put review at the end is because if I didn't, then Netflix would probably block this live stream. It's like, what? I can't even talk about it. I have to be like some 35,000 whatchamacallits subscribers, reviews per day. That's what it takes to get to be like a critic within Rotten Tomatoes. You have to have credentials, I guess. But pretty much, you could just tell by the audience score that the audience score... I think it's a little bit biased both ways, and the ones who are from, again, mainstream media, going on the Me Too movement narrative, all that stuff, yeah, they won't like it. But a few people did. That's great. Jordan Rumi, Jeremy Johns, John Wen. I know Jeremy Johns was like the first one to write a good review, which is great. And then a lot of people just, audiences just wrote a lot of good reviews on it. And he makes fun of a good amount of people, classes, categories, whatever, what have you. And people will probably be like, oh man, how could he talk about these things? And it's like, good. Don't click on them then, don't watch. But one of the interesting things, because if you watch Dave Chappelle on Netflix, especially his first two Netflix shows, stand-ups, and this one, he is quite the conspiracy theorist. And the very first thing that he says is on that quote, "Hey Shirley, some spoilers, at least this one, but you probably won't care." He talks about Anthony Bourdain. I did a piece on Anthony Bourdain way back and just talking about it, and it's just like a lot of us were thinking maybe he was on the kill list after what he was talking about the Clintons. You know, some of the tweets, I'd say weren't that bad. But one thing that I just noticed, and actually, you know what? So the quote of the day, is basically Dave Chappelle starts out with Anthony Bourdain. I said this quite a couple of times too. Is like, dude, he had like the perfect job. He got paid a lot of money to fly around all over the world and eat the cuisines of every culture that's out there. He could go to any restaurant, whatever, and just eat. That's his job. Eat and talk and enjoy himself, pretty much. It's like, that's the dream job. I would love that job. Not married or anything like that. Just travel the world, visit different cultures, and eat their food. I mean, that's a pretty amazing job, and yet he hung himself. And of course, you see all these different videos of him before he died or supposedly killed himself. Then I was just kind of looking back. It's like, all right, why is Dave Chappelle opening up with Anthony Bourdain? I don't know if he was close at all with Anthony Bourdain. I don't think so, but it's 2019. It's over a year and 3 months almost. And so why go back to Anthony Bourdain? So Anthony Bourdain, he died June 8th, 2018. Of course, you can see a lot of his stuff. But one thing I didn't know, that there's a final interview that he did, and I'm trying to look for the video. Unfortunately, I don't think it's a video interview. There's one on the Toronto Sun where he calls Bill Clinton rapey, gropey, disgusting. And he doesn't just lay on Bill Clinton, but Hillary Clinton, and also Jared Kushner, whatever his name, Donald Trump's son-in-law. Here we go. I'm going to read through two articles I found for you. One is from the Toronto Sun, and it goes, and this is written by Brad Hunter on July 16th, 2018. And it was later updated that day. So, tragic: Anthony Bourdain torched rapey, gropey, and disgusting Bill Clinton and Harvey Weinstein in one of his final interviews. This celebrity chef hanged himself in a French hotel in June, but like a voice from the grave, Bourdain granted a wide-ranging interview to journalist Maria Bustillos for magazine Popula. Bill Clinton, look, the bimbo eruptions, it was effing monstrous, Bourdain said, adding that the former U.S. president was a piece of S, entitled rapey, gropey, grabby, disgusting. And he hammered Clinton's wife, Hillary Clinton, for helping destroy women who came forward with the allegations. Where are the chicks? Anthony Bourdain said in one of his last interviews that Bill Clinton is rapey, gropey, and disgusting. He is a very charming man. I met him. He's effing magnetic, as is Hillary. When you're in the room, you think, wow, she's really warm and nice and funny, Bourdain told the magazine. But the way they efficiently dismantled, destroyed, and shamelessly discredited these women for speaking their truth. Bourdain has been one of the most outspoken male supporters of the Me Too movement. His girlfriend, Asia Argento, was one of disgraced producer Harvey Weinstein's first accusers. In the wide-ranging interview, Bourdain also discussed Weinstein's downfall and the 2016 election. Weinstein was a big financial back of both the Clintons during their presidential runs. Bourdain called Hillary shameful for taking the cash from Weinstein. I will tell you that as frightening as that was at times, when I sat there with Asia as she texted her sisters, watching the Clinton apology on Weinstein, and Asia's watching the statement, there was a lot of anticipation, he said. People were really hoping she'd come out with a, I don't know, let's just say something different. I immediately tweeted my disappointment, very much shaped by what I saw around me, and I will tell you that was really effing frightening. The reaction to that, I voted for her. Bourdain famously said he wanted to see Weinstein beaten to death in his cell, but that changed. And he talks about more stuff. And I'll probably read a little bit of this one from news.av club by Caroline Seid on 7/17/2018. Right, Maria Bustillo first connected with Anthony Bourdain after she wrote a lengthy piece for Eater diving into his early career as a crime novelist. Bourdain tweeted his appreciation for the article, which inspired Bustillos to ask for an interview with Bourdain for her blockchain-backed alt-worldly website Popula. Bustillos was hoping for a 15-minute phone interview. Instead, she got to spend 2.5 hours chatting with Bourdain in a comfy Irish bar, where their warm, casual conversation ranged from politics to the Me Too movement to the importance of creating an empathetic global culture and how food can play a role in that. Though it was published this week, the interview took place back in February, 4 months before Bourdain's death. That makes it likely one of his last interviews Bourdain gave, and certainly one of the most unique. Bustillos opens and closes the piece with thoughts on both Bourdain's life and his death, but rather than polish up the interview itself into a more formal piece, Bustillos simply shares the raw transcript of their conversation, including its many stops, starts, and tangents. There are plenty of headline-grabbing pull quotes from the interview, especially when it comes to Bourdain's political opinions. He passionately vents about his frustrations with the op-ed writers at the New York Times and has an immediate response to Bustillos' tongue-in-cheek question about which Times writer he'd like to strangle her first. Thomas Friedman. In perhaps the interview's most provocative section, Bourdain answers a question about the Monica Lewinsky scandal by calling Bill Clinton a piece of shit, entitled rapey, gropey, grabby, disgusting. He also had a lot of vitriol for the way he believes both Bill and Hillary Clinton handled accusations of sexual assault leveled against Bill, saying they were effectively dismantled, destroyed, and shamelessly discredited. These women for speaking their truth is unforgivable. Later, in a particularly provocative end to the interview, Bourdain dreams up an elaborate death scenario for Harvey Weinstein, Bourdain's then girlfriend. Asia Argento was one of the women to publicly accuse Weinstein of sexual assault. There's more, and I forgot about the. Oh, I should probably go to the Popula. I didn't know that about that link. All right. Oh, that's good. Bourdain Confidential. I find again and again, just by spending the time by asking very simple questions, people have said the most astounding things to me. Maria Bustillos, July 15, 2018. Let's see. There was one. Okay, so I'll move on to the Jared part. We're listening to this. The Tame Media is saying he's a simplified version of it and not question why we want a person in this gig who can't read. Right. Or it's like, that's okay because Jared will brief me later. Does Jared tweeze his eyebrows? They look manscaped. Those are not natural eyebrows. It's like howdy doody time. That dude's going to jail. Can you see 8 guys standing around and Jared's out of the room and they're all co-conspirators? They're all saying, hey, don't worry about Jared. He's fucking solid and the guy will stand up. He ain't gonna say nothing. No one has ever said that. That fucking little punk is gonna squeal. Just show him a tray of jail food. The guy will fucking shit himself. That kid was a born snitch. Let us hope the moment comes. Wow. Wow, it talks about Manafort and all this other stuff. Hey, wow, I never knew about this one. But, yeah, that's kind of cool. Jared. And you could say on this one in Trying to Sun and going back to it. He also, basically mocking Jared Kushner as a weakling. And, I mean, I don't think the Clintons liked him. I don't think the Trumps liked him. And as far as like his job, yeah, he's how's it going? Port Film Co-op. Yeah, as far as Anthony Bourdain's job, I think it was a great job. And I said this in the past. Anthony Bourdain often talked about his past addictions, and probably the most depressive time of his life was during those addictive times, and he got through that fine. And now that he's on top of the world and has great time, perfect job, loves his girlfriend, etc., decides to kill himself. Not back then when he was hopped up on drugs with like, I think he just had odd jobs. He wasn't even famous or a chef or anything like that. You know, his story was a really good story to listen to. And then, so he survives all that. Worst time of his life. Didn't he probably even think about killing himself? And then he hangs himself in a luxury suite in France. So I just found that really, really interesting that Dave Chappelle would open with Anthony Bourdain's death. It wasn't even a joke. He was just singing, gosh, what's his name? Prince's 1999. He was just kind of singing it a little bit. Started off with that piece and started singing again and talked about other stuff. And I think it's interesting. I mean, talking about Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, Donald Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, and of course, there's a lot of stuff going on along with Asia Argento as well and her sisters. I'm sure they were part of certain things where they had to follow along. I mean, let's just say I do not think Anthony Bourdain killed himself. I think that's a given. And I don't think Dave Chappelle. I don't think Dave Chappelle thinks he killed himself. Yeah, Anthony Bourdain killed himself. And you know what? When you go ahead and read the news on Dave Chappelle and his Netflix special Sticks and Stones, you're going to talk about the controversial stuff. You're going to talk about his Rotten Tomatoes score. You're going to talk about everything that he says about the LGBT stuff, the Chinese bit, the white bit, and whatever. One thing and also all the pedophilia stuff. Jackson, Louis C.K., Kevin Hart. You know, one thing you won't see them talk about? Anthony Bourdain. That's like a thing that's just not. It's just glossed over. It's like, all right, so Dave Chappelle starts his bit with a non-joke. I mean, it's not a joke. he just says what he says about Anthony Bourdain. Doesn't even go deeper into that. He just mentions it. Let's see. Let me see if Anthony Bourdain comes up in a news article. Hi, Plain Truth. How's it going? Yeah, even with that, doesn't really show anything. Oh, joke about Anthony Bourdain's USA Today. Let's see. Yeah, see, okay. Begins his new stand-up special Sticks and Stones with a joke about Anthony Bourdain's death by suicide. He doesn't stop there. I don't think it was even a joke. He doesn't even aim at him. I mean, I think just the way they word things. I just think it's hilarious. Patrick Ryan, person with 2 first names. Can't trust those fellas. All right, so there you go. That's my review. Go watch it. All right. That was the easiest review I ever did. It wasn't even a review, like I said. Okay. And I had something more serious to talk about, but I was kind of in a non-serious mood today, so I'm not going into that. We'll probably do a serious one tomorrow, which is not really a serious one. It's more of a introspective, retrospective. If even that. Not really. What's the opposite of introspective? Outerspective? Sometimes, I tell you. Okay, maybe I'll do it now. Maybe I'll do it like in the next few minutes, because this was such a short one. But the thing is, I'm speaking by the cuff of my shirt sleeves. So, hey, don't be saying Kim is a first name there, bub. Ebon isn't any name. Got you there. Okay. I will see you guys in 10-15 minutes, or I'll see you guys in a day. But I think I'll be back on. Yeah, I'll just continue it. How about that? That's probably better. It's easier. I'm already on that track, and I'm all set up. What a couple of days. Hopefully everyone had a good weekend. I'm just kidding. Oh my goodness. Can't you take a joke? Okay, don't watch Dave Chappelle's show if you guys are that flustered about jokes. I'm just kidding. All right, I'll see you guys in a bit.